Hey y'all, welcome to 2026. I thought I would start this year by tearing down everything that I had organized for the last 6 months of last year, for the first 6 months of this year, and start completely over from scratch. And I can do that because I am the administrator. You see, I've decided to start this year with 10 arguments that I'm just not going to have anymore until I get involved in a conversation in the comment section or I need content. And it's not because I don't have the answers or because I'm tired of having the arguments, because in some cases I really kind of enjoy having those arguments. It's because in a lot of ways the conversations are already finished. People just haven't realized they're finished yet. And arguing with the unreasonable or the unwilling to listen only leads to my own frustration and anger. Lessons from divorce or life in the church, you can decide. You see, if you're a part of the Mini Guitar Society, or if you're mini guitar curious, or if you identify as a mini guitar player, these are things that you've probably already known. So they're not really up for debate. This is a declaration. These are the 10 arguments that I am absolutely, positively not going to have until I have them again. Argument number 1. Mini guitars aren't great guitars. I'm not having this argument anymore because it assumes that great means somehow something specific. You see, to me, a great guitar stays in tune, sounds good, and it makes you want to play instead of spending all your time watching YouTube videos. This is one of my new favorites, and I've gone over the breakdown. It'll show up again in February as the birthday build, but suffice to say that it stays in tune, it sounds good, and it makes me want to play and play a lot. Most of the time, if I'm watching other YouTube content, this is one of the guitars that's in my hands. It's probably my favorite Strat, including my American Standard Strat. So to me, this is a great guitar. But to someone else, it might not be. That's a matter of subject. It's a matter of perspective. Sometimes it's a matter of bias, but more often than not, it's just a matter of perspective. You see, if greatness were measured in inches, then IKEA would be making Stratocasters. Next is the one that I've had the most fun and had to do the most editing for. You'll see why in a minute. The next argument that I'm not going to have for 2026 is that mini guitars aren't real guitars. Really? Well, what's this? If you said it is a banjo played incorrectly, then congratulations. You are correct. But you're not. You see, technically, this is not a full-scale banjo. It's a travel size banjo. But the question is, were you as irritated by it as you would be by a real banjo? Then perhaps you want to rethink this size matters based argument. Another argument that you might consider is a small truck a real truck? Is a small car a real car? Is a small finger a real finger? Is a small... And that's where I run into trouble. 1950s student guitars are now considered vintage and sought after. A parlor guitar can be thought of as a classic, and somehow these shorter scale guitars or smaller bodied guitars with the same electronics, the same tonal capabilities, are seen as somehow imaginary or unfit. If it has strings, if it has frets, if it's caused at least one family member to lose their minds and ask you to turn it down, odds are it's a guitar. And if that hurts someone's feelings, it's even more real. I got into this for a couple of different reasons, but one of which is because I embraced a little bit of the punk culture. So the fact that guitars have now developed their own religiosity or orthodoxy, that they have to fit in within certain parameters, is quite, well, I don't want to say it's universal. The idea that someone else can dictate to me what an instrument is, that's not rock, that's not punk, that's not jazz, it's not country, it's not, well, I guess it would technically be bluegrass. But the fact of the matter is it music and is it fun? Mini guitars aren't real guitars. Pff. That's all I have to say. Pff. The third argument that I'm not going to have this year is that mini guitars require more attention. You are absolutely correct. They do require more attention. They're a little harder to keep in tune. They require a better setup. They require a little more maintenance as far as that kind of thing goes. And yes, they do require more attention. So do dogs, houseplants, relationships, and some full-size guitars can be quite persnickety as well. Some minis are less dramatic than full-size guitars. Fewer have more seasonal moods as far as the humidity is concerned, but they also require less effort to play for the most part. So if you're basing your hobby of playing guitar on the attention level that the instrument requires, if you require a certain level of ponciness or delicacy in your playing, if you are that fragile, then perhaps mini guitars are not the choice for you. But if you have been through some abuse, namely your hands and your dexterity and your hand strength, if you have done things for a living that might require a shorter scale and tighter chord structures and closer things, closer notes together so you can play your runs and continue to play, then perhaps having lived a less fragile life, you might want to consider mini guitars. If you're basing your decision on your hobby on how much attention it requires, then might I suggest binge watching Netflix instead of trying to create music or spending time in a community? Because most of the things in life that are worthwhile require a bit of time and attention. Argument number D. You should only buy American-made guitars. The only guitars worth having are American-made. A couple problems there. One is the price of an American-made guitar, and the other is the availability of an American-made Mini. The only way to really get an American-made guitar is to have it custom built, and I've investigated that cost, and it's a little cost prohibitive for a person like me, even though I have a room full of guitars. I've put my hands on probably more than 90% of the minis that have been available for sale in the United States since the year 2000. I probably own currently about 75% of those guitars. And instead of worrying so much about where the wood comes from, I worry about where the money goes. And that's why, given my choice, I buy things that have been imported but are now used from American companies, organizations, or people, or, in the case of all of the ones that I've purchased new, I worry about where the money ends up. This is a CNZ guitar. You may recognize it as a singularly American style of guitar, except, of course, for the headstock. But the two pickup setup, the brass saddles. I've added, of course, a passive bass and treble switch, just like Leo Fender put in the G&Ls. But the guitar itself comes from China. The company, though, the importers, are three brothers from Ohio, two of which are in college, one of which is a high school student, as they started working as entrepreneurs to build their own company. So yeah, it's an import, but the money goes to Ohio, right in kind of the middle. Well, it's high in the middle and round on both ends. So, yeah, it's not made in America, but that's where the money seems to stay. I can live with that. I can live with that all day. And that's why I won't be having that argument again. Argument number this many. Mini guitars don't sound as good. Well, they sound different. I'll give you that. On acoustics. Acoustics do sound different. You've got your travel guitars, you've got your mini guitars, you've got your parlor guitars, you've got your dreadnoughts, and everything with an acoustic means something. I mean, everything. String type, soundboard material, size of and cut of the bowl, the bracing, the scale length, everything matters when it comes to an acoustic guitar. And as far as electrics go, if you're playing them acoustically, I guess they do sound a little different. It's up to you to decide whether they sound better or they sound different. But here's an interesting thing, and it's something that I've proven more than a few times, and I may even do that again this year because I have a unique opportunity. You see, I clicked by now on the wrong size guitar. This is a Jackson Dinky. Yeah, I know. It's full scale. So I won't be able to play it as long as I can play other guitars, but that's okay because it's going to help me prove a point and why we're not going to have the argument. Because this is a Jackson Dinky Minion. Now, if you look at these two guitars, they look different. But strap pegs are the same. Necks are made out of the same material. Fretboards are made out of the same material. Nuts are the same. Tuning keys are the same. Pickups are the same. Switches are the same. Do they sound different? Yes, because this one's pickups are set a little further away from the strings than this one. But if I dial those in, I will guarantee you cannot tell the difference between these two guitars. Because the most important thing for an electric guitar is the processing. It's the amplifier that you're using to listen to. It's how you're listening to things on the channel. So I'm not going to have that argument again. As far as punch, clarity, recording magic, mojo, there's no difference in an electric guitar. The only difference that it makes is the size of the case you have to carry it in, and quite honestly, the techniques that you can use to get your fingers to stretch a little more or do runs a little quicker with the more narrow frets, that might make a difference. So if you want booming lows or anything like that, make sure to set your EQ straight. Or better yet, get a bass player. Argument number 6 is probably my favorite, and to be honest with you, it's going to be the hardest one to not have this year because I do enjoy it. And actually, the first 6 to 8 months of this whole MGS thing were based out of that, and that's that these guitars are just for kids and just for beginners. And the reason it's my favorite is because while they may be budget in their materials and their makeup until you get a hold of them, apparently comfort is childish, portability is immature, playing longer without pain is a starter level activity, and my personal favorite, and always will be my favorite, being punk and unorthodox while you play guitar is somehow wrong. Because we all have to fit in this same little box. The pros of playing minis are things like finishing shows or being able to work through a session and finish laying down tracks because you can play it longer. Most importantly, for me, it's a way of continuing to play at all. And I play for hours a day on minis when I couldn't do that on full scales. It's important because we now have people that are able to play with their parents that couldn't play with their parents before because their hands had blown apart and they couldn't fret. It's important that we have little kids now playing with their adults and playing with these shorter scale guitars that can hang with the full scale guitars. They don't have to upgrade as they move along. These things are important, which is why I get so fired up as a part of the argument. Because They're less likely to break your back. They're less likely to hurt your shoulders. They're less likely to put that weight on the strap. They're more likely to let you play longer. They're more likely to let you play in a way that's more expressive. They're more likely to give you extended practice time so you can become better. See, a lot of full-scale guitars, they can inspire decades of playing, but sometimes you can't play them for decades. With minis, the comfort, the ease, it allows you to play, and you can play on. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to give up that argument, but I'll at least do it for a weekend. Argument number 7. Mini guitars do not hold their resale value. This is not an argument. And the reason that it's not an argument is because that statement is a statement of fact. Bees bee, water is wet. Minis do not hold their resale value. You can put that in the pantheon of things that you can be assured of. They just don't. You can spend $200 on a brand new Mini, sink $700 into it, and be lucky if you get $80 out of it. Most guitars don't hold their resale value. In fact, many guitars do not hold their resale value. And the ones that do are likely to be ones owned by people who are not watching this channel. Most gear, in fact, does not hold its resale value. I've got an Alesis SR15 drum machine over here that I probably could not give away. It basically serves as my metronome. Most cars lose value when you drive them off the lot. So if you're going to argue that you can maintain an investment with guitars, enjoy the argument. I'm not going to participate in it anymore, because buying a mini guitar to flip it is not a wise investment plan. Buying a mini guitar for a kid so you can sell it and apply that money towards another guitar, just keep it as a backup. Save yourself the hassle. If you bought it to play, that is an adequate life plan for that guitar. You see, we choose joy over spreadsheets. I am not your financial advisor under any stretch of the imagination. So play it. Don't try to sell it, because you're not going to get what you put into it. But what you're going to gain from it has a value that's more than the scratch. It may not ever play your electric bill, but it sure makes the dark more palatable, more acceptable, more welcoming. So, light a candle, play a mini. There's a song in there. You can't play serious music on a mini. Argument number 8. Music has never asked the question, what's your scale length? The blues do not care. Rock does not check specs. And worship, well, worship does not measure body depth or fret height. Serious music comes from a serious intent. So I'm not going to have that argument anymore. What you bring to it is often what you take away from it. And more often than not, what you take away from it is more than what you brought to it. Minis can grow music just as easily as the full scales. It's not the difference between planting a seed and planting a tree. All of it is going to take an investment in time so you can cultivate and you can grow. So, playing serious music, not really something that I'm all for anyway, but every now and then you need to. But you can do that on a mini just as well as you can do it on a full-scale guitar. It's all about the musician more than it is about the instrument. Argument number 9. Minis are uncomfortable to play. Really? What I've noticed is what makes me uncomfortable to play is the way I have to stretch in order to lean over the neck to play with my hand cramped up. What I've noticed about playing minis is that it's lighter on your lap, it's less on your shoulders, it's kinder to my wrists, and it's less likely to end a session early. If the guitar fits your body, then it's comfortable. Those little Telecasters, a lot more comfortable to the body than a full scale, squared off Telecaster. Yeah, I'm spoiled. I made a comment about ponciness earlier. I'm kind of poncy when it comes to the ergonomics of a guitar. And it's why that full scale that gets so far away from my shoulder becomes so much more difficult to play. Fact of the matter is, if a body fits a guitar, then it's comfortable. And if it doesn't, there is no amount of tradition or orthodoxy or attitude that is going to save your rotator cuff. Quite frankly, the ergonomics depend on the body. It's just the way it is. Some of us are not so mini. Number 10, the final boss argument. Mini guitar players are compensating for something. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I am. I'm compensating for something. I'm compensating for a lack of hand strength. I'm compensating for a lack of dexterity. I'm compensating for a life that I want to spend engaging with an instrument and playing music. I'm compensating because I want to play more. I want to travel lighter. I want to be more comfortable. And I'm compensating because I want to enjoy a life of joy instead of worrying so much about what the eyes on the other side of the screen, beyond the stage lights, or in the back of the sanctuary are thinking. Yeah. Perhaps not compensating so much as adapting or being liberated or reforming. I'm no longer a slave to my ego. I'm no longer a slave to furniture-sized guitars, and I'm really not in a position to feel the need to justify myself or to argue anymore. Because I'm playing. I'm playing. And I'm not going to be that kid on the playground that looks at another kid and says, "You're not playing that game correctly." I'm not going to be that person that pulls someone off to the side and says, "You're not doing that dance correctly." I'm not going to be someone who looks at a piece of art that someone has created, that someone has drawn, and say, "Oh, that's not even refrigerator worthy." I'm not going to be someone that looks at another person and judges them based on what they're playing, what they're driving. I'm going to base my opinion of them on what they're doing, how they're acting. Yeah. Compensating, adapting, reforming, all of those are really good words. But the main thing I'm trying to do is share light into a world of darkness. I'm trying to share music in the middle of noise, and I'm trying to share a life of creativity and love with people who may feel cut off and alone. You see, that's the joy of these. See, I put these on, and if I go for a run, sorry, couldn't make it through that. But if I put these on, I may disappear to the world around me. And some people may see, what a shame. What a shame to disappear into a world of electronics, to a world of music, to a world of screens. But then again, this may be the way my voice reaches someone. This may be the way that the creativity and the love and the joy that I'm putting in the world reaches someone. Picking up a mini guitar to do that, small price to pay, to let somebody know you're not alone. Pick up a guitar, play on. Because that's all it is. All it is about playing. I'm playing, I'm collecting, I'm encouraging other people to do that. Because the Mini Guitar Society isn't just about the mini guitars. It's about bigger smiles, longer sessions, and a whole lot less explaining. So if you still need to argue, If you still feel compelled to do that, feel free to do that in the comment section or in the chat section. In the meantime, I'll be right here with a perfectly sized guitar for me for the day, having a perfectly good time. Play on, y'all. Play on.